now we are moving to chapter 8, Many in Body, One in Mind. Just like we do with all the chapter, in the chapter 7, we talked about the lifelong faith, why the lifelong faith requires the consistent environment and support, and that how that support and environment we get in Soka Gakkai. And as part of being continuing for lifelong in faith, just like we discussed in chapter 1, we need to have a mentor disciple bond and many in body, one in mind. So, chapter 8 is something where we will discuss the concept of many in body, one in mind in detail. And subsequently, chapter 9 talks about mentor and disciple relationship. And this many in body, one in mind is the foundation for achieving worldwide Kosundrufu, because not a single person stand alone can do that. We all have to chip in our unique way, in our own different ways, equipping ourselves with our own talent to make sure we are achieving the worldwide Kosundrufu, right? So before moving towards the Kosundrufu, let's truly understand what is the meaning of Bodhisattva. What is the essence of Bodhisattva way? So if I have to summarize it in a single word or a group of words, so Bodhisattva way is nothing but Kosundrufu. And what is Kosundrufu is teaching others about faith in mystic law and actualizing a more peaceful world. The faith to get into rhythm of universe and substituting faith for substituting faith for wisdom. That is what the meaning of Bodhisattva way, right? But the idea is that if I really need to continue on this direction of Bodhisattva way, we need to be in an orbit of mentor and disciple relationship and many in body, one in mind. And this chapter we will talk in detail about the many in body, one in mind, why this is so much of importance, right? So orbit of sustained faith that we have already discussed, that if I really need to continue in faith, then I need to have a mentor and disciple relationship and many in body, one in mind. Till the time I'm in that orbit, I'll be completely aligned and I'll be able to continue a lifelong faith and ultimately will be in the Buddha realm, right? Without this, the faith eventually will weaken over the period of time. So we are talking about many in body, one in mind. So what exactly is the meaning of many in body, one in mind? So first of all, many in body, one in mind between whom? This between the community which follows the path of mentor and disciple with single-minded goal of Kosundrufu. So we have to have a many body, one in mind among the people who are following the path of mentor and disciple with a single-minded goal of Kosundrufu. Without a harmonious community of practitioners that is solidly united in purpose and brimming with the spirit of mentor and disciple, we cannot hope to triumph in this endeavor. So many in body, one in mind is as important as mentor and disciple relationship. So mentor disciple relationship is the essential. When once you have mentor disciple relationship, once you set your mind towards a single goal of Kosundrufu, then you need to maintain a harmonious unity among the members, right? Now, what is the meaning of man in body here? So when we say man in body, it basically means that we all may have a different color, caste, creed, nationality, gender. We may have a different views. We have our own individuality. No one is coming and challenging you to change yourself or change your individuality. Why you are not wearing the same kind of a color? Why you are not looking? Why your hairs are not similar to others? No, everyone has their own individuality. They have their own preferences. They have their own orientation as well, and they have their own talent. Somebody have a talent of teaching, somebody have a talent of music, somebody has a talent of painting, right? So when we say man in body, it's truly cherishing the diversity among members. Each one has their own role to play, right? That is the meaning of many in body. And what is the meaning of one in mind? That it basically means that no matter whatever orientation I have, whatever talent I have, whatever work and professional in realm, work life realm, whatever I'm doing, ultimately from the heart I am Bodhisattva of the earth, and in my heart I have a single-minded goal of achieving Kosundrufu. We have a same mission, but we have a different strength, different way of achieving that particular goal, right? Now each one of us are bodhisattvas of the earth, and when we get awakened to that mission, then each one of us, before being born, we all equipped ourselves with a certain condition situation. We essentially assumed a karma of our own, so that we can demonstrate the actual proof and the supremacy of the Lotus Sutra in the latter day of the law, right? So essentially it means that we all have to go back to the Eagle Peak. So what vow bodhisattvas of the earth took at Eagle Peak, right? We are talking about the great vow we took as bodhisattvas of the earth at Eagle Peak in front of Shakyamuni Buddha. So That is something which Nichiren Daishonin also keep on you know re-emphasizing again and again when he says that my wish is that all my disciples make a great vow, and that is something he talked during Atsuhara persecution, right? So vow, basically what vow we took a vow to dedicate our life, to dedicating one's life to the cause of Kosen Rufu. And this great vow is at the heart of mentor and disciple relationship, the path followed by the first president of Soka Gakkai, who gave their everything to actualization of Kosen Rufu through their tireless and ungrudging efforts. So the most important word here is ungrudging, right? Moving on to understand more about many in body, one in mind. So when we are saying many in body, like we discussed, it is unity in diversity, right? And diversity is many in body, one in mind is unity. So no matter whatever uh, difference we have on a physical structure level, our mindset level, but deep down we all are united by a single minded goal of Kosudufu. We are to transcending all differences among them. So that is what the meaning of unity in diversity, based on spirit of equality. So when we chant, no matter who we are, we all are equal and we all are united. No matter how much diverse we are, but fundamentally we all are bodhisattvas of the earth who took great vow together at Eagle Peak. Right now, differences are not just physical appearances, but also in our thought processes that we need to overcome. Right? What kind of differences we need to overcome? It's not just physical differences. We are talking about man in body, but sometimes the fundamental darkness, sometimes our ego, our self-centeredness, that I'm just focusing on myself, the power for that matter, the reputation, the prestige, the personal profit, all these things, all those challenges also comes, which we ultimately need to overcome. And ultimately faith in itself is a struggle with our own self, our own self-centeredness and fundamental darkness. So it's not about someone else's, it's about me and only me. So that is the meaning of unity in diversity. So what is the formula for Kosundufu? If I really need to achieve Kosundufu, what do I need to do? First of all, I have to follow on path of mentor and disciple and follow man in body, one in mind. With that intent, I need to think globally. That's what Kosundufu is, that I need to achieve worldwide Kosundufu. But I need to start act locally. Wherever I am, whatever situation I am, I need to start working at that place itself. And when each person contributes from wherever they are and maintain harmony, cooperation, and mutual respect, and they all are united in a for Kosun Rufu, then ultimately the Kosun Rufu will be achieved. We talked about united prayer for Kosun Rufu is key. Why is it so? Because power of shared prayer. Only when each of us starts chipping in and do our contribution, work coherently and in harmony with one another, only then Kosun Rufu can be achieved, right? The heritage of ultimate law of life and death flows in the life of those who chant Namme Aurenge Kyun with this spirit, chanting to the gods on with a shared commitment for Kosundufu. The prayers inspired by the wish for Kosundufu. The prayers inspired by the wish for Kosundufu, and the prayer which pulses the vitality, and this kind of prayers pulses the vitality in Soka Gakkai. Even in the last chapter, we talked about in lifelong faith that how you are making sure that your faith is growing on day-to-day basis. One of the indicator was how deepened your prayer are, right? Maybe in the beginning your prayers are very superficial, maybe materialistic in nature. However, as you grow in faith, your prayers will start deepening, your prayer will start being more outward, not very inward, right? So that is also the meaning of power of shared prayer. As we start growing in faith, then our prayers will also start uh, ultimately uh, become more shared prayer of Kosun Rufu, and that is a prayer that pulses through the Sukha Gakkai. And no plans or strategies for Kosun Rufu will succeed without this shared prayer. So that becomes very important when everyone is chipping in for their own ultimately ways of contributing to Kosun Rufu. Now there is one analogy of fish and water relationship. So fish and water relationship symbolizes the inseparable harmony between members, right? So it indicates a spirit of harmony and unity, a spirit of mutual respect, understanding, support, and caring, regardless of superficial differences in circumstances or position. Recognizing that everyone has a Buddha nature, just like fish and water are inseparable, right? Similarly, the harmony between members should make them look like a fish and water relationship, and that can only be achieved when we work together based on the respect, encouraging each other and supporting each other. Everyone is not, no one is perfect, right? So everyone has their own flaws, everyone is going through certain challenges. So sometimes a leader may be down. At that time we need to chip in and encourage and support them, and not, do brick batting, right? And recognizing that everyone has a Buddha nature in each one of us. And this is a kind of a spirit which is shown by Bodhisattva, never disparaging, right? Bodhisattva never disparaging way was that he bowed down to everyone, even who ridiculed, and even to non-practitioners. When we do so, then we naturally come into rapport and strive to maintain positive and respectful relations. So Bodhisattva never disparaging his spirit when we follow. Ultimately, man in body, one in mind will ultimately will manifest. Why? Because when we start practicing Bodhisattva never disparaging way, then naturally we become in rapport. We will try to maintain positive and respectful relation. We will come to appreciate that all our fellow members are people worthy of greatest respect. And these three ingredients makes the basis of a vibrant relationship of camaraderie and inspiration that is above antagonism and discrimination, right? So we have to start practicing in a Bodhisattva never disparaging way. And while it is important to maintain a spirit of man in body, one in mind, at the same time it is very important to protect the harmony, to make sure we are overcoming the destructive forces. We will talk a lot about it when we will talk about repudiation of, Nikin. However, at one point of time, while we are maintaining the harmony among ourselves, it is also important to make sure we challenge the destructive force who seek to harm this noble cause, right? Like Nichiren says, warriors who destroy their castle from within. So individuals who succumb to desire for fame and fortune and forsook or forgot all about faith. We need to call out those people, self interested individuals who try to disrupt the harmony. We need to take a fearless stand against such destructive action. Even in case of Nichiren Daishonin, he designated 6 priests to carry forward the legacy. However, out of 6, 5 priests discarded the faith, and it's only Nikko Shonin who remained true to his mentor and built a harmonious community of practitioners. So, not just in our time, even in Nichiren Daishonin time, he entrusted 6 priests to continue the legacy after him. However, 5 priests, as soon as Nichiren Daishonin died, they forsook the, the faith, and it was only Nikko Shonin. And when then Nikko Shonin also wrote about 26 admonitions, admonitions. We will discuss it in later. However, at one point of time, we are maintaining harmony. We are keeping the self-respecting. At the same time, if somebody is having a self-interested individual, somebody is trying to disrupt the harmony, we need to call it out. That is also very important. And when we look at Soka Gakkai has truly is a torch bearer, the true flag bearer when it comes to following the path of mentor disciple and many in body, one in mind. The life force of all the 3 president flows in SGI. So as long as the spirit of striving for Kosenrufu demonstrated by the first 3 president pulses vitally in Soka Gakkai will forever possesses the great life force of Buddha, the life force that shines with a great light of compassion, that breaks through the darkness of people's suffering and imparts courage and hope. The lion's roar that breaks through the lion's roar that vanquishes injustice. That, like we talked about, we need to start calling out if somebody is trying to disrupt the harmony, right? So the lion roar that vanquishes injustice and steadfastly champions truth. The roar that surmounts even the fiercest onslaughts of 3 obstacles and 4 devils. And then ultimately it will inspire confidence in transforming the karma. In fact, Toda Sensei used to say something called Soka Gakkai Buddha. So President Toda remarked that in the sutras in future, Soka Gakkai name will be recorded as Soka Gakkai Buddha. This is the conviction of Toda Sensei. He used to say that Soka Gakkai organization is more precious than my own life. That is the heart of mentor. We need to protect. That was the heart of the mentor, to protect the organization, right? And with this heart, let's continue to exert ourselves in faith with many in body, one in mind. And like we said, when we protect SGI, we are protecting an organization which is following the decree of nature in Buddhism. And when we protect SGI, we are protecting Buddhism. And when we do so, then ultimately we will carry forward the mission in our heart. Now, the last topic is living men in body, one in mind on daily basis. So charity starts from home. So we need to start practicing unity in our own family, no matter if someone is practicing or not. Not all are practicing. Still, the first thing is how's how's the environment, how are the energy, how's the oneness of self and environment is reflecting in your family, in your district, in your community. When somebody is not doing good, somebody is not able to chip in, are we doing criticism, or we are respecting and able to support them or not? Are we able to encourage other people, or at the same time do we have a courage over ego, right? And are we striving with mentor's heart on day-to-day basis? When we follow these 3 or 4 checklists, then we are bound to follow man in body, one in mind. With this, we are at the end of our chapter. The keywords we discuss in this chapter is Kosun Rufu, man in body, one in mind, mentor disciple, unity in diversity. So unity is one in mind, diversity is man in body. So just to reiterate, man in body doesn't just mean physical appearance, it means also to overcome the ego, self-centeredness, and our own fundamental darkness to focus on the larger goal of unity, which is Kosun Rufu, right? So if we have to do that, then when we start practicing on based on Bodhisattva never disparaging way, when we get awakened to the great vow which we did at Eagle Peak in front of Shakyamuni Buddha, then only we will continue on the heritage of the law, and we will able to make sure the Kosun Rufu is ultimately achieved. Fish and water analogy to understand, just like fish and water are inseparable, similarly all the members are inseparable. And Toda Sensei used to say in the future they will talk about Soka Gakkai Buddha. So that kind of a conviction he had, and that's how precious Soka Gakkai and the organization is for Toda Sensei. And that is what, when you have that kind of a heart, then of course you will protect your organization from the self-centeredness and people who have their own interests with the lion's roar. Now, there are some short questions. I have jotted it down. I would request you to take a pause here and try to answer it, and some descriptive questions as well. And take a pause here and try to go through these questions as well. And of course, go through the mandated material, so that you are on top of the exam. Thank you. Thank you so much.